I'd like to talk about something today that I'm an expert in, and that is introversion. It probably comes as no surprise to any of you that I'm an extreme introvert. And why does that even matter? Well, I'll tell you why it matters to me, at least. It matters, in my opinion, because personality psychology is vital in fostering and maintaining interpersonal relationships, and this can thoroughly enrich our lives. So, by learning about the differences in people's personality types, we naturally become more tolerant of people rather than jumping to a critical judgment or even having a prejudice against that person for not being the way that we are. And this encourages and increases our social intelligence, which I believe is, again, very important part of life. And it's so normal for us to cast judgment on other people. We all do it. It's a human trait that's universal to us all. And it's just a fact of nature that exists. But if we make an effort to learn more about each other, and particularly if someone's characteristic of their personality is in direct opposition of our own, it can open a door to learning how to support and appreciate one another and develop compassion and connection, deep connection with other people, which I am very passionate about, is forming deep connections with people. And that brings me to, explaining a little bit about my own experience being an introvert. For starters, I will just admit and confess that hanging out with people for me is exhausting. It's physically exhausting, it's mentally and emotionally draining, and it's one of the things I enjoy the least, actually. And that kind of is related to the fact that I don't like small talk. And the reason I don't like small talk is because it creates a barrier that prevents any deeper learning or exploration of the person. So on a surface level, if two people are talking in the hallway about the weather, and then that becomes their norm, is just talking about the weather, that's a meaningless waste of time for me. I hate to put it so bluntly, but that's what it feels like, and it's draining to engage in that because I have to turn myself on to engage, and then it never goes any further than that because the other person doesn't wish to engage, and then in their mind, they might be forming a so-called friendship with me, but in my mind, it's exhausting and I would rather avoid it if I can help it. So as you can see, there's two opposing things going on. And I just thought talking about it and explaining it might help you if you watching this are an introvert, or if you're an extrovert and you wonder why people like myself are so strange and quiet and awkward, which I am all three of those things, so proudly. But another prominent characteristic that I have as an introvert is my lack of many friends. And that's definitely on purpose. I only have a small group of people that I call my friends, and that's definitely, like I said, by design. I'm not the type of person who enjoys having huge groups of people around me or engaging in huge social events and things like that. I also don't like having the pressure of constantly talking on the phone or, again, hanging out and things that friendship typically entails, or a typical friendship, I should say, entails. So therefore, I have a few individuals who, of course, I'm very grateful to have in my life, but being that they're my friends, they know me very intimately. So they know these details about my personality, and they not only appreciate, but they support me, and they love that part of me. As with any friendship, obviously there's a chemistry and a compatibility factor that fosters the friendship and makes it flourish. But people often mistake my introversion for shyness, and so I have difficulty initiating making friends for that reason. However, I'm not shy. That's not to say that an introvert can't be also shy, but I'm not shy. However, I am very introverted. And I'm very quiet. I'm very reserved and I'm very quiet. So, as I've gotten older, I've definitely gotten more comfortable in my own skin, as one naturally does, living more years on the earth. And I've come to acknowledge and even embrace my extreme introversion and awkwardness. I practice things like filming these YouTube videos, things that I'm not good at inherently. I practice them on purpose because I'm so uncomfortable, and it makes me so uncomfortable that each time I do it, I feel like I'm growing and learning something, even if it's just a little victory for me. It's kind of like a pat on the back I can give myself for doing something that completely makes me uncomfortable, which this does. And that's not to say I don't enjoy it, but it, you know, I'm awkward, so it's just uncomfortable. I can't explain it any more than that. But yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to say. The last thing I will say is that if any of you watching are silent viewers, which I suspect some of you or many of you are, maybe you can practice and leave me a comment down below. It can be anything. Tell me something about yourself. Share a little, anything about yourself. Because I talk about myself here. And if you are a silent viewer, just maybe challenge yourself in this video of mine to make yourself seen by me at least and the other people, and leave a comment down below, again sharing something about yourself with me, and that would be great, and come out of your introverted little shell. And you can practice too. So yeah, again, I think knowing yourself is very important, and knowing others is important too, because we each have our own unique ways of connecting, and that's what I wanted to get across today. And hopefully I've done that, or at least maybe given you something to think about. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one.